Gamers, what's good? Okay, so first off, we have some hot takes to discuss, but I know some people wanted a Mathmech deck list to just get to like Master 1 really quick before that ban list comes into effect and the season ends. The season ends pretty soon. Pre-ban list, if you guys want to get a Mathmech deck list, just copy this basically, and this should pretty much carry you. You'll be fine. If you want to see the combo lines, just go into ranked, and if you're going second, odds are you're probably facing a Mathmech player, and you can just save that replay of how they beat you and use that combo line. It's pretty straightforward. Either way, I did want to talk about this because I think it's a pretty interesting topic. A lot of people have been saying that the ban list hit the wrong card for Mathmech, that they should have hit the circular to 1 instead of the diameter. And at first, I agreed with that. And there was someone in my Discord called Pizza Sauce, who's actually a quite experienced Mathmech player who's been to multiple YCS. He was saying it's actually higher impact to put diameter to 1. And his reasoning was really interesting, and I think it made a lot of sense. So I kind of wanted to talk about it and kind of give you guys my hot take, because it didn't take very long for me to come around and just kind of agree with him. Definitely, I can see why people look at it and go like, circular good card, circular should go to 1, right? But here's the thing about circular, okay? This card is any rank 4 ever in the game. Like anytime you get 2 level 4s on the field, you have circular and full Mathmech combo, right? So by putting circular to 1, what are you doing really? Well, you're hurting the consistency a little bit, but you're not really doing much of the consistency of this deck. If you think Mathmech is going to suddenly struggle to put up a rank 4 just because you're putting circular to 1, that's kind of wild. I mean, look at this deck. This deck is like, it's a rank 4 machine. I'm running 2 Exceed. You could run 3 Exceed if you wanted to, or, you know, you could run 2 Addition, 2 Subtraction, whatever floats your boat, you know? It's just your odds of getting to a rank 4 play in this deck are so freaking high. Even Firewall Defensor is pretty much a Alimbertion if you have any extender. Like, there's so many extenders in Cybers. Like, Cybers just spams the field with level 4s all the time. Sakitama is a really good one as well. So I really feel like if you put circular to 1, it really wouldn't do much of anything. I mean, Mathmech would play pretty much the same, and they would still just get the insane crackback on turn 3. So I actually kind of agree with him, because if you leave this card at 3, okay? If we have 3 circular, let's say we put the diameter to 1. The thing about diameter is its application in the deck, I think, is a little more important than people give it credit for, just by having 1 diameter. And of course, that doesn't mean they'll never get their super fact. It doesn't mean they'll never get their negate off of the Xyz. But one good example of diameter being insane is when on turn 3 your opponent is trying to go for game, and you know they want to do their access code line. If they have access to diameter on turn 3, most likely they're going to be setting up an omni negate, and then they're going to set up their access code line. And if you had that 1 imperm you were hoping to negate access code with to not die that turn, well, that's not going to be happening. Same goes, like, they're playing into Nibiru usually when they're doing their access code line, right? So by giving them 1 diameter, what you're really doing is you're weakening their turn 3, and you're also making it so their turn 1 is a lot more interruptible. Now, the odds of them already having diameter, if you choose to negate Alimbertion, are much lower, because they'll get their super factorial no matter what, pretty much, right? But like, oftentimes your idea is like, oh man, I don't know if I can stop them from getting the super factorial. What if they have diameter in hand? Okay, I'll just stop them from getting super fact. Or you can be like, okay, I'll just stop them from getting diameter, and negating either circular or Alimbertion is going to be way higher impact. If circular was at 1 and diameter was still at 3, negating circular or Alimbertion would still have almost no impact, like usual. That wouldn't change, right? So, in my opinion, the hit on diameter was actually kind of smart. I think that was actually a smart hit. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I do think people are underestimating how good of a hit it was. I actually think it was quite a good hit. So, in my opinion, Mathmech decks probably look something like this after the update. If you don't like the 3 Exceed, maybe you'll run this, and like either an extra one of these or an extra Sakitama. I just like having access to extenders. Obviously, some people might prefer playing a bit more staples. 2 Silent Mining, that is 1 less copy of circular, I guess. Not that that makes a huge difference, but I do think that slight hit to consistency and the fact that now they're a lot more interruptible thanks to diameter being at 1, I think that's going to help a lot, actually. I think it's actually going to make a pretty huge difference. So, guys, don't sleep on it. I mean, and that's not to say the deck is going to be weak. It's not to say it's going to kill Mathmech, and I don't want them to kill Mathmech. I think Mathmech is really cool. I just think right now it's doing a lot, like a bit too much. It's doing way too much, actually. And I'm happy if the deck actually feels more interruptible. Of course, we'll just have to wait and see. And that doesn't mean that won't get anything. You know, usually if you stop the Alimbertion and they have any way of extending, they'll at least get to set up their Dark Fluid. But like if they can't get those 3 Mathmechs in the grave, they're going to be kind of screwed for the super factorial. Also, Pitasov's mentioned this might also be kind of an excuse to not run the second Alimbertion, and instead of running a second Alimbertion, maybe they want you to actually run the Singularity, which they just dropped. You know, not a lot of people are running Singularity because you really don't need it. But now it might actually be worth running it, because the reason you run a second Alimbertion is because on turn 3, you get that Omni Negate, and that Omni Negate is super, super useful if you want to actually be able to go for game without having to worry about Nib or an Imperm in battle phase on your access code talker, right? So, yeah, I think it's probably kind of a move on Konami's part to just get you to fucking craft this card, which, I mean, fair enough, I guess. But yeah, overall, honestly, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, you know, that's not too bad. And actually, your odds of getting 3 Mathmechs in the grave are going to be lower now because you're going to be a bit weaker to interruption. So you might end up wanting to run more of these extender guys. I thought about it a bit more, and I think over a 3rd Exceed or a 3rd Sakitama, I'd rather run more of Subtraction and Addition. If they do stop your Alimbertion, you're probably going to want to have one of these guys just to be able to at least have a super factorial. Even though you won't have the negate, you'll still have a super factorial send to grave, which is still like a super strong effect. Like the hand loop plus send a monster or a spell or both to grave is just, that can be really insane and game winning on its own, especially thanks to now Dark Fluid setting up a spell and trap negate with the D-Save Worm and having a slow negate with the aggregator. Don't think Diameter to 1 is making the deck weak or anything like that. I just think it's going to actually help people be able to interrupt this deck, because to be honest, for a while now, it's just felt like whenever you face Mathmech, it's just a situation of like, oh, here's Mathmech? Okay, I guess I'm just losing, because what do I interrupt? I have 2 interruptions in my hand, and I'm going to use them both, and I know they're still going to beat me, you know? In fact, they're just happy because I emptied my hand, and now I'm playing with 4 cards. They're like, oh, now you're playing with 4 cards. That's even better. Now my couple of interruptions are even stronger, you know? So yeah, I know this is a bit of a hot take, and that's kind of why I wanted to throw it out there, because a lot of people disagree. A lot of people on Twitter especially were just saying, Konami, you're so freaking stupid. And I kind of see where people are coming from. But after hearing the takes from Pitasov's, I turned around pretty quickly. And so I wanted to put my take out there after I heard his and just kind of like changed my mind a little bit. And I'd love to see what you guys think. If you guys think I'm coping and, bro, you're just coping, bro. You're just glazing Konami. Look, man, I'm not glazing Konami, okay? I still don't think that was a good ban list. Don't get me wrong. I think the ban list sucked. I think this hit was good, though. I actually think this was a good hit. Like, obviously, banning Circular would be bigger than, like, you know, banning Diameter. But I think limiting Circular is less impactful than limiting Diameter. That's basically my take on it. So, huge shout out to Pitasov's, I guess, for changing my mind. Shout out to the MDC Discord for actually having Yu-Gi-Oh! Discourse every once in a while. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. And make sure to like, too. Make sure to like. It's free. Support. Help me!